It's a helicopter. If you can genuinely sit there and tell me that Batman vs Superman is a bad film purely because of that bit where Batman and Superman's mum's first names are both Martha, right? You can go die in a vat of acid, you piece of shit. Anyway, how's it going, every guy, people, everybody? I just had a week off. I wanted to. I've been getting so immersed in the world of Rainbow Six Siege. Yes, it's a very addictive game and way too realistic, but I'm getting better at it. Oh yeah, I got a haircut, yeah.
Shut up!
Anyway, let's get down to business, shall we? Anyway, the big question. How the hell can Batman versus Superman be better than... I don't even know what to compare it to. How can people don't think the film's good? Give me a second.
2 very boring minutes later.
Anyway, there are multiple factors into the reason why Batman vs Superman is actually a good comic book film, and it's actually one of my favourite ones. So let's get right into it. Oh yeah, for the record, I'm going to be purely talking about the extended version because there's more to the story in that one as well, and something for part of the subjects. So. Alright, I want to start off with the Batman, which is basically, like, the films are pretty much about him. You see throughout the whole film, it's like a 3-hour film, the extended version, but most of the film's basically to do with, you see rising tensions between Batman versus Superman, but the film's mostly about, you see him hating Superman more and then getting ready to whoop his ass. And yeah, I'm gonna just say this now, technically he did win the fight. I mean, if bloody Lois Lane didn't come in and save Superman's ass, he definitely would have killed his ass. I really like the way they did this Batman. They've done him inspired by the Dark Knight Returns version, which is basically maybe Batman in his 40s or 50s. He's been fighting criminals for like 20 years.
20 years of fighting criminals amounts to nothing.
I think they chose the right person for it. They chose Ben Affleck. He was a proper built geezer as well. He was a bit older, but he was definitely the best choice. If you don't think that Ben Affleck's a good Batman, you can go ahead and watch the warehouse fight scene where you see him whoop about a dozen criminals' asses. Yeah, I think they got a banging looking suit for Batfleck. I'm just going to call him Batfleck from now on. Yes, Batfleck suit. You know he wore more than one suit, but both of them, they look so heavily badass and threatening. You know, that's what they'd be looking for, you know. The next bit we're going to talk about the cinematography, and now I bet you're wondering what's that got to do with comic book film. It's just basically shots. Well, I'll just quickly show you a picture here. You can clearly see like the film was very well shot for multiple things. I mean, my favourite bit was probably the nightmare scene where he basically I think this is something to do with like if Justice League 2 and 3 had come to happen, this probably would have been taking place in Justice League 3. What the plan was, there was going to be like a 5-film story arc or whatever, and basically it would be going Man of Steel, then Batman v Superman, and then the 3 Justice League films. And yeah, basically Justice League 2 and 3 would kind of be like an Infinity War and Endgame scenario. Someone's at the door. Try to be left alone. Oh, they're both for me! I got mail boys. It's been a long time. Anyway, yeah, continuing, the cinematography isn't much to do with, you know, the angles of the shots and whatever. Yeah, they did the right job doing the colour grading as well. They didn't make it too colourful. The soundtrack is bloody banging. You don't have that arse like Danny Elfman to bloody do it. He did Justice League and he did the pig's arse of that. Yeah, they got Hans Zimmer in and he did an absolute banger of a soundtrack for this film. I couldn't tell you what the best part of the soundtrack was, but I think maybe my favourite part would probably be the music during the warehouse fight. Yes.
The red capes are coming. The red capes are coming.
Also, what the hell's wrong with Lex Luthor in this film? I think Jesse Eisenberg did a banging job doing it. How I think I see his Lex Luthor is he's on the verge of insanity, but he's trying to keep his grasp on sanity. Yeah, I don't think he was fully insane. He was on the verge of it. But you know, by the end of the film, he says it. Well, this is in the the extended version. He says it says it himself. He's insane.
I'm insane. I'm not even fit to stand trial.
The CGI is all right. I still don't know what to think about Doomsday. I mean, I know people say it's terrible CGI, but I'm not going to say it's the best piece of CGI ever, because it definitely ain't. But it's definitely, I don't think it's the worst. I definitely don't think it's the worst. I think the best CGI character they've done is Thanos, and I think they have the opportunity to do better, or at least as good as that, with Darkseid when they get round to him. Kind of CGI we're looking at here would be stuff that, you know, like mostly laser eyes and fire and explosions and all that. And then there's a nightmare scene, which is like an overload, but it looks more real. It looks better than Justice League. That's definite. It definitely looks better than Justice League. Although they did do a good job making Cyborg. They did a good job with that. They also did a good job using the film to set up the DCEU. Well, even though they effectively already did that in Man of Steel, but they did it very subtly. They had little hinters, you know, like the Wayne Enterprises satellite that they blew up during the final fight, and then the LexCorp tower that Zod blew up. The building they were inside, when Zod used his laser eyes, the first time you see him do that, apparently that was the Wayne Enterprises tower. They do much better in Batman vs Superman. They set up stuff, you know, like the Nightmare, you know, setting up kind of like a story for the 3 Justice League films, if we even do get to see all 3 of them in the future. Although it's not very likely now. But, you know, there's also those bits, like, you know, when Wonder Woman see those videos with, like, you know, the Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg. The final bit to set it up is the last bit. I'm not going to quote him. I'll just let you hear what he says.
But the bell's already been rung, and they've heard it out in the dark among the stars. Ding dong, the god is dead.
And yeah, and after the final fight, you know, you saw that right after the end of it, you see, you know, the SWAT team go into the spaceship, and they find they find Steppenwolf, they find the villain for Justice League, but they find him how he was supposed to look, but, you know, opposed to, you know, compared to how he looked in the film, I'd rather we saw the Batman vs Superman version, because it's much better. Right, and I think we need to talk about the story now, because all you bloody idiots think that the whole point of the story, you can pretty much. Someone said to me that Batman vs Superman wasn't a good film because the whole story summed up was, both our mums have the same name. Oh, we're friends now. That is not the whole bloody story, you piece of shit. The story goes into much more depth than that beforehand. You know, even though it's called Batman vs Superman, I get it, they fight for like maybe 10 minutes, but the whole film is basically built around the rising tensions between the two geezers. Although, you know, for like an hour, or at least by an hour, you know, Superman's giving them a warning. He's like, Batman's been going after him for like 2 years, and you see that. Well, there's that bit where he steals the kryptonite off camera, but you assume he broke into LexCorp and, you know, took it. Like, the story is not just, our mums are the same name, so we're both on the same side. That's Batman's story in the film, and then there's Superman's story. But basically, he has to deal with this more real. They've been a bit more realistic on society, where he's misjudged because of something that happens in the desert. He's falsely accused that he committed a horrible attack and burnt some men in the desert. So yeah, you got Superman dealing with society being butthurt, and you got Batman dealing with probably his own paranoia about Superman. Even though he has that nightmare, which kind of further fuels his paranoia. Jesus. I think the last thing I can say on the subject of this film is that it's not like Marvel. They haven't gone in the same style as Marvel, even though, unfortunately, Warner Brothers thought there was a good idea to try and do that with Justice League, and they completely cocked up, and the film absolutely bombed. Yeah, it is a little bit dark, but I don't see anything wrong with that. There should be dark comic book films. You saw Joker, how dark that was, and that got nominated for Best Picture. Marvel has its own style, so DC should have its own. Warner Bros. Shouldn't just try and copy off Marvel, because that's just a bit disappointing. Some actual comic books are actually dark, so I don't see the reason why comic book films can't be dark. You gotta do it right. That's my opinion. You adapt a film, you gotta do it right. Don't completely make the story different. Don't change the tone of how the story was. Do it right. Don't judge a film by one single... Oh yeah, but I should say this. That bit with the Marthas both being called Martha, I don't think that was lazy. I thought that was a clever twist. That was a clever ass twist and no one's ever used before in a comic book film, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, don't judge a film by one simple plot point like that. Anyway, this has been your boy. I'll give you a film recommendation. Watch Batman vs Superman, but make sure you watch the Ultimate Edition. That's the extended version. It's better. Anyway, goodbye.